Donald Trump is not just controversial. He is statistically unusual, culturally unusual, and historically unusual. Even before you get into politics, his life alone already looks nothing like a typical American president. Trump is the first U.S. president to have been divorced twice, with 3 marriages and 5 children. And when it comes to money, he stands in a category of his own. According to Forbes, his net worth in 2026 is estimated at around $6.5 billion, making him the richest president in modern American history. That matters, because Trump didn't rise through the usual political system. He didn't come from Congress, the military, or a governor's office. He came from real estate, media exposure, and branding. In other words, before he entered politics, he already knew how to turn his own life into a story people would watch. Even the place most associated with him tells you something. Trump's private estate, Mar-a-Lago, has 126 rooms and over 60,000 square feet. That is actually larger than the main residential part of the White House. And that contrast says a lot. Because for Trump, the office may be historic, but the brand always has to feel bigger. Then there's his relationship with conflict. Before becoming president, Trump and his companies were involved in more than 4,000 legal cases over about 30 years. And interestingly, a large number of those cases were filed by Trump himself, which tells you something important. For him, lawsuits were not just a reaction. They were a strategy, a way to apply pressure, control negotiations, and shape outcomes before the real fight even began. And that pattern didn't stop in politics. In the first 100 days of his second term, over 200 lawsuits were filed against his administration's policies. So, conflict, in Trump's world, is not a problem to avoid. It is the environment he operates in. Now, here is where things get even more interesting. Trump does not drink alcohol, and he does not smoke. He has said this is because his older brother died from alcoholism. At the same time, he has openly described handshaking as barbaric because of his strong dislike of germs. So, you end up with a strange combination. A public figure who appears aggressive and dominant, but also highly sensitive to control, distance, and personal boundaries. That contradiction is part of what makes him so hard to read. That same pattern shows up in diplomacy. In 2018, he made headlines in the UK for briefly walking ahead of Queen Elizabeth II, which was widely seen as breaking royal protocol. A year later, he became the first sitting U.S. president to step onto North Korean soil. These moments may seem unrelated, but they follow the same logic. Trump treats politics like a stage, and for him, the moment only matters if it breaks expectations. So if you step back and look at the bigger picture, Trump is not just a businessman turned president. He is a figure who merged celebrity culture with political power more completely than anyone before him. Most presidents build authority through institutions. Trump builds it through attention. Most politicians try to reduce conflict. Trump often amplifies it. And that is why traditional political language often fails to explain him. Trump is not memorable because he broke one rule. He is memorable because he changed the rules of how a president can exist in the modern media world. And whether people support him or oppose him, that is exactly what makes him impossible to ignore.